while you're doing all this development.
The startup Theranos raised $1 billion off of the claim it had built a device that could diagnose disease with a prick of a finger and a drop of blood. But on January 3rd, a jury found startup founder Elizabeth Holmes guilty on 4 counts of fraud for misleading investors, but not guilty of 4 charges stemming from defrauding patients.
They found Ms. Holmes guilty of misleading some of the investors and then decided that the claims were too attenuated with respect to harming patients. So Holmes' defense was, look, I didn't know anything about the science. I had a big idea, but I'm not a scientifically trained person. I was relying on other people. Too much of a chain from Ms. Holmes all the way to the people who use the machines.
I'm very excited to share with you today how
Poe Bronson is the managing director of IndieBio, which has both nurtured and made early-stage investments in 189 science-focused startups.
One of our most successful human health companies is a point-of-care blood testing company called Cronus Health. Never been asked about Theranos. I don't really believe that it's actively impacting investor markets today, or especially the verdict didn't change that. It absolutely had a dark clouds effect on overall with how people looked at diagnostics as a space, and served as a bellwether warning that diagnostics is harder than people might say it is.
But Bronson says the story of Theranos is regularly brought up in its own discussions with startups at its accelerator program. He says they tell scientist founders that if there's information they're wondering about whether to disclose, that's a signal they should disclose it. The vast majority of investors in Theranos did not have backgrounds in science, including everyone from former U.S. Education Secretary Betsy DeVos to former Defense Secretary James Mattis to media magnate Rupert Murdoch. Bronson says that's a far cry from the investors of today.
Those firms have beefed up their bio teams, hiring PhD scientists, where there used to be one person. Now that person has a whole team of partners and principals, all extremely knowledgeable about these markets.
As for Holmes, she now faces a maximum sentence of up to 20 years in prison for each count.
One key question will be, will she be sent to prison right away after the sentencing, or whether she's permitted to remain out on bail pending the outcome of the appeals? I would say, I'm purely guessing, but we're probably looking at something like half to 2/3 of the 20 years.
Holmes is scheduled to be sentenced on September 26. Mark New, CGTN, San Jose, California.